There you have it. Couldn't resist starting off with the video, letting everybody catch that again. Welcome everybody to today's Ask Me Anything session. I don't understand why I'm the only one fresh out of the hot tub, guys. I mean, come on. We had to do a quality check in the hot tubs before we ship them to LE. Come on. I mean, I don't understand why you're not playing along, but we noted. So
I turned into a prune, Paul. I just can't spend all my time in the hot tub.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. I'll give you a pass this time. Keith. All right. Thanks again, everybody, for joining today. I hope you had a fantastic conference. It's been very, very exciting all week. Great interaction, great energy, amazing sessions. Really, really enjoyed it. And so as usual, we'll close with this Ask Me Anything session. For those of you, hopefully, you're all joining through the Pathable interface, so you can use the chat feature in Pathable to submit your questions. All right, and we've got somebody monitoring that. But throughout the week, we had, been monitoring, questions that we got in the roadmap, as well as soliciting questions, from you all and all the interactions that we've had. We've made note of some of the more frequently asked questions that we've received. So, while you guys, warm up your questions in the chat, we're going to go through a few that we wanted to make sure we got answered since we've been asked multiple times. So we just want to echo the response, make sure that everybody hears a consistent message on some of these. So the first one, let's start with release 22 and what we just showed you. And I think the first question we got was, why did you start with 22? I actually saw somebody went back to all the unique releases of Enterprise One. Way back, right? And they counted 23, and they're like, come on, there's 23. Why'd you start with 22? Well, it's similar to the car model, right? We're just following the car model. So going forward, we'll be releasing the year ahead, right? So next year, when we come out, we'll be 23, 24. You guys get the point. We wanted to be future looking, forward looking. We obviously wanted to get out of the maintenance mode of 9 ... what that implied. And then the other thing is that, the number itself implying the future year also helps, you as customers understanding, how current you are, right? When it's 2025 and you're looking at, hey, I'm at least 22, obviously, I'm out of date, right? And I need to get, up to date, got to get current. So that answers that question. Hopefully, the next piece that gets asked is, are you delivering any innovation, or are you only delivering, innovation now once a year? Now that you've gone to this, this release 22 on this car model, does that mean you're only going to get innovation once a year? And I'm going to kick that one over to Keith. Keith, this one's on you.
So Paul, I'm sorry, I didn't realize we're building cars now. I'm going to have to go back to my my backlog and redo that a little bit, I think. Maybe I'll start with an electric car, though.
Autonomous
electric car. Perfect. Yes, so good question. Are we delivering innovation once a year? No. So if you look under the hood, everything's still the same. So we still have ESUs that we deliver for applications. We still have tools updates. So, we do 4 tools updates a year. We do apps, ESUs as features and enhancements, are done. As we sign off on them, they get delivered. So they become, as soon as they are able to be shipped, we ship those. And then once a year, we package, from an application perspective, we package everything up into an annual update, a cumulative update. So those things are, I think, things you're all familiar with. So nothing, really changed from that perspective. This release 22, as Paul kind of mentioned, gives you a way to kind of set, your mind on, well, what package does this come out with? What year did this come out? What, give you a sense of kind of the when, and not to mention the when, but it also gives you a sense that we're delivering real value in these in our deliveries every year. It's not just bug fixes and not just little things around the edges.
Well said, Keith. Well said. So the next question that usually gets asked, because this ends up being this progression, first it's like, why are you doing this? And then exactly how are you doing it? Because now it's only once, now it's not just once a year, but now that we know that, then the question is, but does this mean we have to upgrade to actually get to this release? So Jeff, why don't you take that one?
Sure. Cars, I thought we were building rockets.
Wow, blast off.
Exactly. And just for the record, I think I win the pool because nobody's had to say, Jeff, you're on mute, unmute yourself. So the under over of 10 was wrong.
Fair enough.
So, to echo on what Keith is saying, the underlying framework that we have with JDoors is not changing with release 22. So it is the 9.2 code line, which again, all the customers have gotten to 9.2. A lot of great success stories this week. But the processes of applying our innovation stays the same. And so if you're taking the tool side or if you're taking the app side, the processes you've been leveraging in the past, you continue to leverage. So that does not change. So it's not an upgrade. You don't need to schedule a big upgrade project to get release 22 or release 23. As we said in the roadmap, we continue to invest in simplifying that process. So leverage our investments to install and configure the new innovation we're delivering the way that you have been, or I actually would challenge you, in the new way that we've been delivering. And so that does not change.
Very cool.
Yeah, just to add on to that, Jeff, I sat in on quite a number of sessions this week with people with customers that have annual code current projects. And that's fantastic. I mean, that really falls right quite nicely into what we're talking about here. And that's quite a difference from what we've seen, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when, there wasn't there wasn't a lot of thought put into staying current and adopting new functionality. It was all big bang upgrade projects. So really excited to see the momentum in the community.
Nice to see that trend shifting, Keith. Very good point. Very good point. So one last question here on release 22 again as we start this progression. So now I know I don't need to upgrade, but can you confirm? And again, I'm going to toss this to either John or Jeff. I'll let either one of you guys take this one. But release 22 is 64-bit only. Is that correct?
Yes. So as we look at the tools side of release 22, we went to 64-bit with this release. We delivered to market well over 3 years ago with update 3. Really been communicating the value and the need to get to 64-bit. As we've talked about multiple times, we've been monitoring this for well over a decade, Gary. I mean, you and I have worked on this for a long time, monitoring how the timing of this. If I look at our vendors that our customers run with, database, middleware, OS, hardware, everything is 64-bit. And really running in a 32-bit mode, you're really running in it's almost suboptimal because it's not running with all the power that's available on the technology tiers. So yes, with release 22, it is 64-bit from a foundation point of view. John, what are you seeing from a support point of view with customers moving to 64-bit?
That's kind of funny, like looking back in time, right? It was with 9.2.3 that we first introduced 64-bit. We had a beta program with partners at that time to work through any issues. We tracked customers or their adopters that went to 64-bit to make sure there was no major issues. And it was, great. We had very few SRs, very few issues with customers and partners making that conversion. We would track those and highlight those. Now, yeah, we still track it, but it's it's not a flag where I'm looking at saying, oh, they're going to 64-bit. So if anything, it's exciting to see with release 22, we're going to see a lot more momentum and everybody going to 64-bit.
Very cool. Along those lines, and this is just obviously trying to clarify, see, one of the questions that just came in, and Keith, you touched on it, with your answer as far as, the innovation and what we do and how we package things up. And Jeff, you touched on it too. Again, we're still on 9.2. So when it comes to UN5, no, release 22 is the cumulative, result of what we've done in apps and tools. It's going to be 9.2.6, right? Tools as well as UN6, which of course will be, packaging up and shipping here, I don't know, soon, right? So, but the question then gets, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think we're like a month or so away from getting update 6 out the door.
From completing
So,
that packaging process. So to
yeah,
speak.
exactly. I mean, it's everything that's available now in
Mhm.
ESUs,
Yep.
but will be packaged as an update,
Exactly.
folded all under the umbrella of release 22.
Release 22. Yep. And then the other thing, Jeff, UN6. I mean, for those, for whatever reason, that aren't in a position to necessarily do the technical uplift side of the house, can they apply UN6, back on 9.2.5 and 32-bit?
Yes. Yeah. Again, if you have a technical reason why you cannot put down the latest tools update, which is update 6 with under 22, the app side will still, the innovation we're delivering will still work in the 32-bit mode. I will say, like, similar to Keith, what we've seen with other customers, with their continuous innovation adoption cycle, there's a lot of synergies with doing both the apps and tool side at the same time. You're minimizing your validation process. You're getting more value out of both of them combined, because I think you've seen we're leveraging our technology innovation, our digital platform, more and more on the application side, and the two of them go more and more closer together. So we really see, if there's a technical reason you have to do update 5 only from an apps point of view, we understand that. If you have to get reg-like things like that, but we highly encourage customers to do both apps and the foundation or the tools side at the same time. There's just synergies that come with that.
Yep. Okay. All right. The next one, near and dear to my heart, logic extensions. They look great, but the question is where do we see them being used, and what's the roadmap on the capabilities? Obviously this is the first release with logic extensibility, right? That we've put out there. And I believe when, Jeff, you described it even in the roadmap, and I'm sure others described it in other, follow-on sessions. I mean, our goal here is, to avoid spin tax, change the skill, so to speak, level required in order to do these, these implement the business rules, if you will, and eliminate the need to do named ER changes. That's our goal. So while, this is our first shot, for, the first, inaugural shipment of this, if you will, there's obvious places where we're going to expand on this. We want to get it out there so you guys can start to leverage it. We encourage your feedback. And as you've seen us do with Orchestrator and the notification framework and the digital platform in general, from personalization and even form extensibility, we're going to take your feedback and we're going to let this thing evolve. Right. So there's, we may look at business function calling, we may look at arrays, we, obviously debugging, what about reports? I mean, there's a lot of different places we can go. And, if we held our breath until we had it all done, well, you guys would probably be waiting quite a long time before you even get to touch it. In its current state, we thought it absolutely starts to help you address, significant problems that currently are not problems, opportunities, if you will, that require customization and, help to complete that overall extensibility framework for us. Jeff, anything to add?
No, I think that hits the nail on the head. We see a high value with what we delivered. Are we done with it? No. The other one I would add in there that we've gotten the question multiple times on the form extent, it's not tied exactly to logic extension, is it is on our roadmap to have our extensibility framework support the Power Forms. We support Power Browses it today. It's on the roadmap to do Power Edits. And then you tie in the form extensibility and the logic extensibility. And there's lots of power there. So again, I look forward to the next event where we get to show the next cool stuff that we're delivering with logic extensions, because there'll be more coming in the near future.
Right. Good call. Good call. All right. Well, everybody's had an opportunity to talk except for Gary. So let's queue up a question here for Gary.
Okay.
What are the trends as far as customer, from our customer base that you're seeing with JD Edwards customers? I mean, what are just the general trends of our IB, right, of our install base? What are you seeing out there?
Okay. That's a big picture question. I mean, it's probably a big answer to it. Yeah. But no, I mean, I think, there's an old adage in enterprise processes, simplify, standardize, streamline. It's an old, it's been around for a long time. I bet everyone's heard that adage around, that really the way to really business process excellence is through those phases. First of all, start with taking what you have and simplify how you do things. And we're seeing this play out today. Is that, and that can be things like we're seeing a lot of this remove customizations. How often do we hear a customer saying, I have 600 customizations, it's a boat anchor to my ability to move forward. I'm too custom. Get rid of those with personalizations and whatnot. That's something that we hear about every day. Moving out of your own data center is another way of simplifying. Dramatically simplify your operations and move to a public cloud infrastructure. OCI, is a trend. On the standardized front, looking at consolidating systems. So many customers have either done acquisitions, spin-offs, consolidating those systems and the processes. So, going from many instances of JD Edwards or JD Edwards plus other, ERPs and consolidating that. That's a huge standardization, as is some of the cloud applications are a great way to really look at horizontal functions, like let's say procurement. You could share across lines of businesses and standardize there and get really true, ROI, a really fast ROI. And then finally on streamlining, we talk about, automation, using Orchestrator, for example, or with an RPA platform, automating steps that they used to be, manual intervention, taking those out of the way, or streamlining your ability to stay current. There's, we've done so much. I mean, I think the audience would be amazed at what we've done internally, in our product development operations and managing our environments. And, we're seeing that happen as well. So, but, for you, I'd say my big advice is, have a strategy, consider your current state, but that simplify, standardize, streamline is a good framework to put things that'll most benefit your business.
So Gary, interesting that you bring up the eliminate customizations. So I was on a chat today with a couple of customers and one of these coffee talk things, right? And both these guys had similar experiences where at their old companies, they customized heavily and they were very diligent at documenting their customizations until they weren't. And then people left and all of a sudden they've got a bunch of spaghetti code that they don't know what it's for. And they're really paralyzed. And, these guys actually, I think at least partly moved somewhere else because of that. So, I think it's a risk not only to your organization, but a risk to keeping, folks at your organization. So it's really interesting that you bring that up.
Yep. very complex thing. It's the power of on-premise, but it's also, double-edged sword if you don't have really diligent processes and that's why right, Keith, that's why we've invested so much in giving you the ability to get rid of those customizations over time. So
Something about power and responsibility or something, but I'm not gonna.
yeah.
Stanley will not.
Yeah.
Very cool. Keith, what have you heard as far as the changes to the mobile strategy? Did you get questions on that this week as far as, what's our change to our mobile strategy and where we're going?
Yeah, there were a few questions there. So nothing's really changed in, say, the last year, but I can kind of reiterate, where what our strategy is and what we're doing. We're reacting to a number of different things. One would be customer requirements and customer uses. Basically, what we heard from our customers is that they have very specific functional and UI requirements around mobile applications, whether it's on a phone or a tablet or what have you. Much more than what we would normally expect from a desktop application. So very, very specific on how they want to use these. And so, we, I don't know what it's been, 5 years now or more that we set out and we created a whole slew of mobile applications that were all very specific to a use case. And what we found was that these really, weren't optimized based on what customers were looking for, because they wanted slightly different, to support slightly different use cases. Well, in the meantime, Paul's team, your team has been totally focused on delivering this platform that allows us or our customers or our partners to create the perfect use case, or excuse me, the perfect UI for their use cases, and then connecting to the JD Edwards logic and data, using the orchestrator. So, it's kind of a perfect combination now, whether it's a mobile application or even just a different web application that you want to create, or you want to give to your users. You have the ability to use, whether it's an Oracle tool or someone else's front-end development tool, to create that UI the way you want it to be, and then very easily connect into our logic and data, of course. So, those two things really came together nicely. Now, and we have tons of examples now of customers and partners that are getting success with that. Now, along with that, we see opportunity for what we can deliver, where we have very standard use case, or a very common use case, like approvals. So like you saw, we delivered a mobile PO approval app. It's very basic use case, right? People are not going to necessarily want to customize that or create some completely different UI. It's a very simple use case. That's something that we can deliver and we can be successful at, and our customers can be successful at. So we'll look at those types of use cases and do that while giving our customers and partners the ability to create those specialized use cases themselves.
So where we can be where we can with extreme confidence meet the requirements, we're absolutely going to take advantage of that opportunity and technology at our fingertips to make that part of our standard package. But where we recognize, everybody's got their own flavor. It's best to just hand the tools. We have the OBEs, we have the tools available. There's plenty of expertise out there. There's a lot of no-code, low-code tools of platforms available to you for you to be able to develop your own. And so we're empowering you to fill that gap, right?
Exactly. You should have answered the question, Paul.
No, I'm just summarizing what you said, man. It's good stuff. Yeah.
And then the other thing I would echo into that is, as a product team, we adapt to where the industry is going. When we started mobile, 5-6 years ago, there weren't a lot of low-code offerings on market that were commercially viable, really. No other nice way to say it. And so there was all this heavy development kit that had to be used, and so we delivered mobile apps. Over the last 5 years, industry itself has fundamentally changed.
Mhm.
And so we continue to adapt to where the industry is so our customers can be successful. And I think this is a great example of us doing that.
Yeah.
It's about tailoring things for your business processes without the customizations and doing it within days instead of a 6-month big consulting project.
So we can be taught. Is that what you're saying, Jeff?
Yes, we can be.
We can learn.
You know-
At least
you
we
know-
try, right? We do our best, right? So nobody's perfect, but
Paul, this seems a lot like one of our staff meetings. We have to remember that we have an audience on
This-
here.
this is true. All right, let's move on to the next question. Let's see here. Workflow Studio. Where would you use, this is interesting, Jeff, I'm going to cue you on this one. Where would you use workflow instead of orchestrations?
We get this question quite often, and the team does a great job of answering this. Similar to what we've had for integration, where we have different tools and solutions for integrations based upon the use cases and the requirements. We have the same thing with process automation. Workflow we see as a couple key things that's different than Orchestrator. One, there's a level of statefulness with workflow. And so being on the tool side, and I'll pick on my tools brethren here. The only app that tools really knows is Address Book.
No, that's true.
And so that's an internal joke for everybody. So again, when you do a credit limit for approval, you have to maintain current and future state, because if it gets rejected, you have to keep the current credit limit. And so there's a level of statefulness that workflow has. The other big one is a predefined approval process, which orchestrations do not have. And so you can set up by department, by group, whatever it is, an approval process so that in case somebody's on vacation, you don't have to wait 6 weeks for an expense report to be approved. It automatically, after X number of time, moves up the chain, and that goes with that. I will say from a roadmap point of view, we want orchestrations to be able to inherit those type of capabilities. So it's on our roadmap to say, okay, an orchestration can launch a workflow, or a workflow can launch an orchestration. And so you get the best of both with that. So I do know we had some workflow sessions this week where they went into much greater detail of this and the technical differences and skill sets and things like that. But it's really the business use case that you need to go with that.
Great answer, Jeff. You're right. The team has answered that very well. I'm glad that you weighed in. Hey, we just got this one in chat. It's probably not the first time this has been asked this week. But as many should know, Lyle Ekdahl did retire a couple weeks ago, and the question here is, has a replacement been named, and if that person is in the session, can they discuss Oracle's commitment to JDE? So I am going to turn it over to that person, and Gary Greishaber.
Yes. Well, whoever asked that question, thank you for doing that. That's an important question, I think, for all of us. And yes, as Paul alluded to, I am replacing Lyle, taking on all of his responsibilities at Oracle. Paul and his team continue to run all of JD Edwards' day-to-day activities, and I'm in Lyle's position. I think I don't know how many of you on this specific call know me. I'm pretty well. I should be very well known in the JD Edwards community over the years, having spent 20 years. I ran the JD Edwards tools development team for years. I've run product management, product strategy for the last 10 years. Actively involved with again, both product strategy, release management, and a lot of functions at JD Edwards. So anyway, I have the background. I feel where I'm comfortable, and with the team that we have on this call here, and the army of people behind them. We have 100% confidence. We'll continue to deliver like we have over the past year. So, but getting to, I think the root of the question, what is Oracle's commitment to JD Edwards? And while Lyle leaving is a change from a leadership perspective, from who maybe you interact with at the top level, there's and let's just acknowledge there's only one Lyle. Lyle had a very unique ability to engage people. He was the ultimate showman. He was a trusted partner and visionary, and we'll miss Lyle. Both as a colleague, as a leader, and as a friend, and I'm sure we're going to miss him as well. He's really done a great job. This wasn't overnight a decision by any means. He's been planning this for years. Spend more time with his family, fix his golf game, work on his music, and a lot of things like that. So it's been in the planning. He's been grooming myself, Paul, Jeff Keith, the organization, and we're ready to take that on. No change in our commitment at all. We've been delivering, and Oracle's been committed to our organization and delivering releases and innovation, and continuing to move things forward. And our commitment around Apps Unlimited, our 10-year rolling support window for the 9.2 release, our premier support offering, our commitment to engaging with everyone in the community, and our excitement for the future. If you didn't listen to the Intelligent ERP session Paul and I did, we should all be excited about the future of JD Edwards. And at the same time, the industry is changing. Cloud is becoming more and more of a viable option, and not only option, a lot of times, a cloud first strategy is in place, and we're embracing that. And we want to do what's right, for our customers. So our commitment remains, and you're going to see exciting things in the future. I just leave it at that. Paul, anything you would add, Paul, to that?
No, I think you covered it very, very well.
Okay.
This was, to your point, not a, while it may have been a shock to those when they first heard it, was no shock to us, because we had been planning it for a while, and we'd established the leadership structure, and he had been grooming several of us. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to get up in front of everybody and hit golf balls into the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, just for the record, you probably wouldn't shank him into the crowd.
Well,
Jeez.
Hit it harder, but
no, I mean, we're all obviously going to miss, Lyle and what he brought to the table. But I think we had great momentum coming out of this last year. We're extremely excited about the future, as you said, and what we can do to evolve JD Edwards to that next tier as far as intelligent ERP is concerned. And that's what gets me going. I mean, you guys just saw release 22 coming off the line, and then we have the vision for the future, and that reflects Oracle's commitment. It reflects our commitment, and we're just going to jam. And that's the best tribute that we can give the Lyles, that we continue to just deliver and innovate and whatnot. So that's where I'm at least. Let's see here. Let me go through. Just give me a quick second. I was busy answering. I got to go through. Well, actually, yeah, you mentioned, Gary, cloud and whatnot, but what about OCI? We haven't touched base quite yet on, OCI and the investment and leveraging Oracle. I don't know, Jeff or John, do you want to take that one?
I can start with and then turn it over to John. I would say, I'd want to echo what Gary was saying about investment. There's investment in JD Edwards and the organization,
Mhm.
And then there's investment that JD Edwards, we get out of Oracle. And I think OCI is a great example of that, of where Oracle's making a big investment in cloud infrastructure. As a team, we are working with that team to make sure our customers can leverage that investment. Because really what we're seeing, and Gary, you can probably echo this, is our customers, one of the trends is they want to focus in on their business and they don't want to focus in on some of the utility components that JD Edwards runs on. And one that's infrastructure, one's having to manage the data center, do that day-to-day operations. We're leveraging that, and we are seeing more and more customers moving over to OCI. And there's lots of sessions this week on customers leveraging cloud infrastructure to get better performance, allow them to do innovation and not have to worry about building a DR strategy or high availability, refreshing the hardware. And so that's really where we see our customers going. And from a product point of view, OCI is more than just the infrastructure. It's things like autonomous Linux, autonomous database. So one of the announcements this last week was our support for autonomous database shared, and getting customers out of the infrastructure business, but also getting out of the database business also for having to manage it. So John, from a support, I know you and I have calls every week with the OCI teams. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're continuing to see positive momentum. I mean, looking back to the OCIC days and now OCI, I mean, the number of data centers being built worldwide. I collaborate with my EBS support leader, PeopleSoft, Siebel. We're definitely seeing traction, not just in JD Edwards, but across all the Asset Unlimited products. I'll say this, EBS and JD Edwards are definitely leading the way with customer adoption. That's kind of, the customers that are moving to OCI. Yeah, we also see customers moving to AWS and Azure though, or Google Cloud. So there are definitely choices for our customers. We actually track OCI closely because it's in-house. Like you said, Jeff, I'm working all the time with our OCI counterparts to make sure that we're helping our JD Edwards customers be successful as a move to OCI.
Yeah, and I would just add to it what you guys said, or maybe reiterate that that OCI can and not only like solve some traditional problems a lot more elegantly and easily, DR, scalability, some of these really challenging problems, and exit the data and refresh of systems. Those are really challenging, expensive problems to solve. But as we get into this next generation, there'll be things that are really only possible in the cloud because of the capacity there, because the data, big data management and scalability of processors and networking and things along those lines that make advanced analytics and AI and collecting data from IoT feasible proposition. And we can realize that, and we're excited about what that can do to transform applications.
Absolutely. Great point. Thank you, guys. Let's see here. Do we have any more on the chat? Doesn't look like it. So
It's being very quiet on the chat today.
it is very quiet on the
Remember,
chat.
that means the content we delivered had to answer all the questions.
High value, Jeff.
Okay.
There's one from Dylan about being an early adopter. Is there an early adopter program? So I'll talk about that for release 22. So
Yeah.
no, there is not an official early adopter program, but kind of ties into another question about how do we engage with support or be proactive. Simply log an SR with my team, log the milestone saying you're going to release 22, and officially you're in our early adopter program at that point, because we do track these. We'll put your date, whether it's in 2 months or at the beginning of the new year, whatever that may be. We'll put that in an internal system. My leadership team meets with Paul's leadership team on a regular basis, where we're reviewing customers that are going to release 22, whether they're coming from an earlier version of 9.2 or whether they're coming from 9.1 or even XE. We track all customer movement to make sure we can help you be successful. So that's kind of what I call our early adopters. Yeah, we love to see who is the first ones out of the gate going to release 22. So get in there, start logging an SR with us, notify us so we can help support you cross that finish line and be some of the very first ones, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, this ties into another question that we always get, which is, you know, okay, we see all these great new features with release 22, but how do we engage the product team, you know, to drive even additional improvement? And it goes back to what you just said, John, that you know, we don't just enter SRs for problems, right? We want to know about your key milestones, and we also want to know your ideas as far as what you need in the product, what you needed to do, and how to get it carried forward. Keith is always highlighting the fact that we are hyper focused on customer-driven product improvement, and it starts with you guys sharing, you know, your needs and entering that SR. Obviously, gather support from your peers is always helps. You know, the more people that can leverage, you know, what you're suggesting, the more obvious it is for us, you know, to implement. And then obviously leverage Quest and leverage the SIGs, right? You know, leverage this ecosystem that you have around you as much as possible. I don't know, Keith, if there's anything you want to add to that.
Yeah, I would just say, you know, well, first of all, point out that quite a number of the enhancements that we delivered this year, you know, came from SIGs, for one. A large number came as what started out as the first request that went to, you know, the first SR, and then other customers pile on, right? So, you know, one customer enters an SR on an enhancement, another customer enters for the same thing, they get added to the same SR. Every time, you know, that we get new requests for the same enhancement, our dev teams are looking at those, and you know, we're looking at what's going on in, you know, in that request marketplace, if you will, marketplace of ideas, and that's what drives our backlog. That's what drives our enhancement work. So I guarantee that if you enter an enhancement request, it will be reviewed by our development team, along with, you know, the product managers that are associated. So it's not like it goes into a black hole. And I point that out because you know, there was a time when we were less diligent on paying attention to those things. But the last few years, we've done a really great job of really paying attention to what you guys are requesting and what you're needing out there.
Yeah.
And obviously, the more customers that are added to specific enhancements, those pop to the top, right? To your point.
Yep.
Jeff,
Yes, I did.
Ignore.
Do you have something you'd like to say?
Ignore. Put your hand down.
I mean, the other thing I'd want to echo in to all of this is going back to the early adopter.
Mhm.
I challenge this group, the people on the Zoom, on what
Also,
on
who you
all
challenging?
this is
He's challenging you, John.
Okay. I was like, wait, I accept the challenge. What is it?
is let's have joint success for the event in June. You know, Blueprint 4D. We know a lot of our customers. You know, I look at this as we know a lot of you. We've engaged with you in-person events, virtual events. Let's have lots of success at the June event, and let's show the rest of the community what can be done. And, you know, I'll offer it up on our side is you get to release 22 and you're doing innovative things with release 22. We'll co-present with you at Blueprint 4D, and let's really drive a culture of innovation through Quest and the events of innovation.
Well said.
I'll accept
Well
the
said.
challenge.
Well
I'll
said.
accept the challenge.
Very well.
I'm talking about the early adopter. I've said this to other customers in the past. I don't want to be the first. I want to be the 10th or whatever, you know, or the 100th. You know, I don't want to be that first. I say this: be the first 1 through 5, because I have no problem calling Paul at any time when he's on a golf course or whatever to say, hey, this customer's our first going to release 22, and they ran into this issue. We will get that turnaround ASAP. Right? Being the 100th, yes, we'll still turn that around, but early adopter, so to speak, gets you some preferential treatment, right? You're paving the way for all the other customers that go there, so we will get that turned around, you know.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Well, I think that gets us through our list and gets us through almost everything. Annie, let me check the chat just one more time.
Hey, Paul, there was one that we had seen out there about, so, sorry, is this something I said?
No, I just got it. The question is whether or not whatever I'm storefront. And perhaps it should be in June when we get back together in person, we can hand it out. I don't know.
There you go.
That'll be, Paul's microphone. I'll switch it up each time, and each time somebody can win it. I don't know. Anyway,
We can throw them in the audience, Paul. We'll create a bunch of them. We'll throw them in the audience.
And the bucket hat too. I mean,
all right, Keith. I apologize. I interrupted you. What's up?
That is quite all right. No, I know that we had something that we had heard about, customers wanting to know how to try out new features, new enhancements.
Yeah.
So I can start with that, and then I'll have to phone a friend or use a
Wait.
lifeline or
I
something.
thought we vetoed the whole phone thing.
Oh, I have AJ on the phone. I'm phoning a friend all the time here.
I mean, great point, Keith. I mean, yeah. Why don't you tell us right off? I mean, again, people wanting to take advantage of Release 22. What's the quickest, easiest way for them to do so?
Yeah, so I'll use this example or use this question to start by pointing people to our product catalog, which you can access from LearnJDE. So, LearnJDE is a library of every, all the collateral that we make available. The product catalog is a specific listing of all of the features and enhancements that we deliver. We've been making changes to that, make it more user-friendly, make it the central point of collateral that we provide related to any one enhancement. So you should be able to go out there, search on something that we've delivered, or just search on the Release 22 or whatever, and you can get a listing of those enhancements along with a description or, the value, what is the value you're going to receive on that, and then all of the related collateral that we deliver. A lot of times it's maybe some high level value piece of collateral, then there's maybe some training type or documentation or whatever it might be, along with help in finding how to get it, right? Either if it's tools, obviously you're going to get it with the tools update. If it's apps, you can go out to the update center and find out how to download it. So at least from a starting point, that gets you there. Now, I'd like to phone Mr. Green. Maybe he can tell us about what they might do after that.
Alternatives? Are there?
hello, years of listening to John Green at Oracle. Trial edition is another thing we're seeing for customers that kick the tires. I saw a few presentations this week where they talked about some people were able to stand up the trial edition in a few hours. Somebody said 30 minutes. So a really fast, easy way to get JD Edwards 9.2 Release 22 at your fingertips in just a few hours. So my VP that runs all of the applications on Unlimited Support, she even did it on her own. She's never touched JD Edwards in her life, and she did a trial edition install. So it's all on the guide. So it is very doable.
Nice. It's quite a quality engineering.
Yeah, try this.
Success criteria defined as. I like it. Very nice, John. Very nice. Cool.
We got a claim on the hot tub now too, so you have to give away the mic, a hot
Howdy's
tub.
hot tubs. Oh man.
Yeah. And the bucket.
I heard they're on back order.
Okay, so yeah, this next question that just came in, I'm glad everybody, glad you really enjoyed the virtual In Focus. We've been doing this now for quite a long time. I guess the last 3 now have all been virtual. And the question is, obviously that expands the participation, right? And it does make it easier for some to attend. It also makes it easier for some to contribute, right? I know our team, our JD Edwards team had huge participation this time around, with the number of sessions that we were able to put forward as a result of it being virtual. So then the question naturally is that going to be the trend going forward? Will we continue this or not? And I think, was it Jeff or was it Keith that mentioned, I mean, the next, in Focus event in June will be in person, correct?
It will be in person, but there's going to be a virtual element to it as well.
Exactly.
So Quest is organizing that Blueprint 4D event in Las Vegas. So save your money, save your gambling money.
Wait a second.
We're gonna have an opportunity to do a deposit in Las Vegas. But no, that event will be primarily in person, which I'm very much looking forward to. I was mentioning to somebody else, I'm worried I'm not going to recognize everyone because it's been so long, right? And it seemed like I'm missing my friends out there. But there will be a virtual element to it as well, so I'm sure we'll be able to enable folks that can't be there physically to participate.
Absolutely.
Best of both worlds.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, we've all done a lot of these events. The thing I would add, we do miss seeing everybody face to face. But I will say, I think Quest has done a great job with doing virtual. Again, I think Keith brings up a great point. From your guys' point of view, and even from our point of view, there's limited capacity to send your entire organization to a in-person event. So I would, again, highly recommend that you leverage the virtual hybrid model to get as many people engaged and listen to the replays of these sessions. And, moving forward, a lot of things will have changed and it'll be virtual. Leverage the new paradigms of virtual for educating and engaging with us via Quest, because the in-person events are great and we all miss them. But when we did them in person, the X number of people in the room were the only people that heard the message. And with it being virtual now, there's a lot more opportunities.
Yeah, a lot more opportunity to amplify our message. And hopefully when we get to this, I mean, again, we'll have to figure out how to calibrate hybrid, hybrid venues, like there are hybrid events like this, and try to combine the best of both worlds in order to truly engage as many people as possible and amplify our message. So definitely looking forward to June and seeing people. You guys are absolutely right. There's a lot of us that feed off the energy of the crowd, and being able to actually see people's reaction, good or bad. At the end of the day, it's hard to make really good jokes about Shakespeare's toilet and just not get any sort of response. So, at the end of the day, it's gonna be great to actually see people and hopefully get them to smile and laugh and have fun and whatnot. So. All right, we got about 5 minutes left. I think we've covered just about everything. Do you guys have anything that you'd like? I can go around the horn. Anything you guys want to add? Anything you want to, say other than, Quest has done a fantastic job. It's been a great event. This one had amazing energy. I know, 6 months ago, I mean, we've been going through this virtually for a while, and Zoom and burnout and stuff, is a real thing. But this event was very, very energizing to me. So I don't know about the rest of you guys, if you guys felt the same way, but feel free to chime in.
I'll kick off with my final thought. One, I think great event, really excited about the things our customers and partners are doing. A lot of excitement about what we're delivering. And I would like to close with my thought is, I personally want to thank, I'm looking at the list, is all our engineers, all our QEs, all of Paul's org who helped support this event, because that's the good side of virtual, is we were able to pull in a lot more people. And I want to thank you for all your support through the event and helping our customers.
Yeah.
I can go next. So I'd like to just remind everybody that the recordings are going to still be out there. I know I sat in sessions all day, every day here, and there was a lot of things I couldn't get to. a lot of really great sessions I
Mm.
went to, but a lot more I want to get to. So I'm going to spend a lot of my time over the next couple of weeks, reviewing additional sessions. I would hope everybody will, reserve some time on their schedules to do that, because there's a lot of great value to pull from those. A lot of great, really enjoyed a lot of great customer stories.
Great point.
Great. Yep. Excellent
John, anything?
presentation. Yeah, no, it's just a great conference from the partner-led sessions, customer sessions, Oracle sessions. I've done a lot this week to see just everything going on, and the energy, like you said, Paul says, a really good week.
Very cool. How about you, Gary? Why don't you close it out?
Yeah, well, I want to thank Quest. I want to thank John Vaughn and team, and countless people that they did a lot of work, and just to really thank them for continuing to pull our community together. And without them, we'd get together in small groups here and there, but pulling this all together really, and being able to deliver the level of education that was delivered this week is big thanks to Quest. Want to ask everyone, put what you learned to work this week. Bake it into your strategy, your plans. A lot of companies, they do calendar year planning. Make this a calendar year 22 thing, 22 and 22, right? Let's
Yep.
make
Let's
that the mantra here. And then also finally consider, if you didn't this time, consider contributing to the next event, and co-present with us. I think Jeff said he'd sign up to co-present with everybody out there. Maybe not everybody, but let's
Everyone.
that's really what builds
Everyone.
that's what builds the momentum, is hearing what you're doing with the product, and where you're taking it, and it sparks a light with the rest of the community. And I think we've seen that a lot with this conference, things that have been accumulating, and bigger and better ideas, and it comes from you all. So thank you.
No, that's a great point, Gary. I mean, I think the most rewarding part of the job, I mean, we all get into this industry to solve problems using technology and to be creative. But it's the validation that you get when you see it put to use, right? When you see it actually solving problems in the real world, that gives you that validation on all the effort that you put in, and it tends to generate even more ideas. All it does is further motivate you, further energize you, and get your head spinning for more, right? Thirsty for more. So thank you guys all. Great conference. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your feedback, and thanks for being here and continuing to show up, and on to release 22. Right? Get on release 22, leverage it. We look forward to hearing your stories in the upcoming months and year, as we focus on what it's going to take us to the next level. All right. Thank you guys all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Be safe.